Welcome everyone to my very first podcast on my own original book slash possible TV series, The Striking Star Knight Adventures of the Mechanic. Today, I shall be talking about how I first started and created this series, the inspiration I have used for the creation of this fantasy world, even an extract from the opening of the first episode slash book, the origin of the Darkfires, which I'll be reading later on in this podcast. This is a G7D4 production, and yes, if you are wondering, the B is actually a G turned upside down for a hidden meaning, which I cannot say at the moment. But before we start this podcast, let's take a look at this. David Tennant and Catherine Tate return to the screens as the Doctor and Donna Noble in Doctor Who for the 60th anniversary of the programme since it first featured on the TV in 1963. This will include 3 specials, including one Christmas special featuring the brand new Doctor. You can either watch live or catch up on the story on BBC iPlayer. The writing of this story first started at my old school 2 years ago, Trinity School in Teignmouth. It all started at my creative writing club. I became interested in creative writing as multiple creative writing pieces that I had done in English earlier in the year had been highly graded. Also, a 100-word story being included in a writing competition, Unsolved, for ages 11 and 18. Also, if anyone is wondering why I refer to these stories as episodes, it's because that is how I've set it up, rather than volumes of books in general. I am hoping for this story to actually become a real-life indie animation series. Now, onto the inspiration for my story. I use multiple medias, the majority being sci-fi related series, as inspiration, both the technology and even the characters for my story. Such examples are primarily Transformers, Star Wars, even DC and even other indie animated series such as Murder Drones. Of course, they've only been used for inspiration, not obviously direct copying them for my own use. I have always been considering copyright laws and that I cannot under any situation infringe on them, which I haven't. Now, on to the main part of this podcast, the very best I have waited for. I am now going to read the opening of Season 1, Episode 1, Part 1, which is, like I said before, the origin story of the vile, tyrannical, very dark purple and destructive virus, which tried to conquer this unimaginable but fantastic world, the Dark.
We are so sorry for the sudden interruption of the following featured podcast. It has come to the Dark Army's attention that the creators of this podcast and any viewers are considered supporters of the mechanic and his team who wish to stop the Dark Lord from destroying this universe. After we destroy the first one, we're on to our one. Please enjoy a production produced by Magic Aluzi, head of general, as well as director of Magic Production and his head assistant, General
Jekyll, what are you doing?
Magic Lucy. What are you doing here? I was doing what you told me to.
I'm supposed to do the intro. The most fabulous general gets to introduce the takeover. And generals in general. No pun intended.
But you said I can feature.
Your memory files are on the blink. End credits, Nitbite. Also, you're technically not a general yet, you're just my assistant. An adjutant at best.
Can you hurry it up? We got another invasion within the hour. The Gearbots already done tying up the hostages. Dump them in the bins out back.
Philistines, the heathens and frankly uncultural and unintellectuals who view this and need to know about our history, of course. And to the viewers, if you're saying either out loud or in the empty heads of yours, no, we don't. Well, you don't have a good imagination or sense of story. But back to what I was saying. They won't know why we want to destroy the entire universe. Importantly ours, which holds the slight resemblance to this universe. At least it's nice and cold in this country, unlike ours.
Wait, isn't their technology medieval to us, including the Scortox? Why can't Why don't we destroy them first?
It would be too easy, and we still have him to deal with.
Get on with it, or we'll have Zeus to deal with. You know what he's like about timings. That's imperfection.
Fine! Uncultural Philistinian ice machine.
I heard that, and last I checked, all you got is a stick.
It's a cane, thank you. It's also a saber, staff, and many other tools for magician, illusionist, actor, and director needs.
More like walking stick.
Can we just get on with it?
Right, yes, we're wasting time anyway. Podcasts are on a time limit. Jekla, roll the tape.
Okay. Wait. Was it the red button or the
Oh, darkness, give me strength. The red one!
Okay, for Darth Vader's sake. There. Happy now?
Yes. Now, shh!
Hope they include us in it. We're plot points here in the story, except Jekla.
Hey!
Silence! And let our narrator speak. 3, 2, 1, action.
Must you always say that?
Yes, one of us has to be the dramatic type. Surely spyware and malware aren't. Hope they both didn't hear that. Anyway, on with the newly featured story.
Universes. There are multiple universes with either small or large changes. They are always significant though. A world where the dinosaurs never went extinct. A world where each human has only blue eyes. No variation or evolution in creatures. Even in a world where your roles in life are reversed. Imagine that. However, you may have never thought this type of universe could ever exist. A world where the Earth has several changes to the planet's weather, continents, and even the species and time it is set as the dominant species. This world is inhabited by the Scorchops, intelligent and versatile scorpion-like creatures with many unique abilities, such as flight with dragon-like wings, shoot acid from their mouths, produce mist which affects all but the producer, same for their 3 tails equipped with dangerous stingers, each having a different type of venom with different effects. They even have the ability to fire naturally produced wax-like substances from their claws, called venom bombs, even though not even slightly poisonous. The Scorchops were very creative creatures, surpassing human intellect. Scorchops' life was simple and beautiful. However, one day, everything changed. One day, a large meteor entered their atmosphere. Everyone saw it at least 100 miles away. It came in the daytime. However, its arrival had turned the sky dark purple for a few minutes before it landed in one of the most well-known and to become one of the most famous countries in the world. Stammerville, which was Strogsrogs, the native language of this country, which meant Starland. It landed in the largest forest of Starland, the star of all forests of the Starland, Starman's Star. But now, it was known as the Desert of the Death of the Star, or more commonly known as, and shortened to, as the Darklands. The impact had extinguished all life in the forest. The meteor had drained all of the life from the forest, destroying it, turning it into nothing but an black ash desert with 0 inhabitants alive. The only thing that remained were multiple boulders and rocks from the meteor, and a purple goo. The dark, eerie, dark purple glue oozed from the meteor. It was endless, constantly pouring until it created a lake of dark purple goo. Astronomers of the time studied the rock and couldn't understand where it came from or what it was, but they did know one thing. Whatever entered the liquid turned to stone and immediately shattered to pieces. However, one day, the meteor sank into the ground, only leaving the lake behind. It sank at least 5 miles down, where it then stopped, lodging itself against glass-like diamonds. These diamonds were everywhere, Now, this world has a very special type of diamond, not like the valuable ones found on jewels, glass-like diamonds that were very common. Large or very rare, they had a very unique properties that boggled the minds of the planet. However, all that they did know was that they had the ability to draw out power in someone. Not literally creating that power, it absorbed it, changing its formula into that. They were later named Asoramins, and that was proven as the goo took them over like a virus, turning the diamonds in contact with it into pitch dark purple crystals, turning them evil. No one knew what happened to them until they revealed themselves. Days had passed, and the Scorchocks were still studying the lake. No one dared to get close to it. Anytime they did go close to it, it acted as if it was alive, aggressively. Then, one day out of nowhere, large Asoramins emerged from the ashy sand and onto the surface. Now, in the darkened state that they were in, they were nearly as large as a building. They covered the Darklands like castle towers. Then, humanoid creatures exited the crystals in lines. They were like armies of dead, brainless, conscious. They were each created from Asoramid crystals, forming themselves physical bodies covered in armor, created from the natural ores in the ground. The Scorchocks thought that they would be friendly, but they weren't. They immediately began slaughtering the people and massacring the land and surrounding areas, destroying everything in their way, regardless of how large or tough it was. Every time that they killed someone or something, it would turn to stone. And then immediately explode into little pieces of their former selves. The dark goo had the power to create powerful beings from objects, materials, anything that the goo entered could turn them into a monster of destruction. As for the desert, it became a fortress for the meteor. Not only were the dark purple Asoramid soldiers, named the Asoyas, capable of destroying anything, they could create anything, any non-living material, just like the goo. They created an endless wall around the desert, miles along, with only one entrance, guarded constantly by the Asoyas. They then began to double their numbers, taking over the world. They wouldn't sleep, they wouldn't eat, they would always listen to their master, who they referred to as the Lord of Dark, the Dark Lord. There was, however, one name that the Scorchocks referred to him as, and later, the being himself, the Dark Virus. The Dark Virus's power was like a virus, destroying, penetrating, and rewriting everything it came in contact with. It was soon looking as if the Scorchocks would surely die. The Dark Virus had nearly covered the entire world in a dark purple darkness, which also exterminated nearly all life. It was referred to as the Dark Sky. At this time, it was the Scorchocks' ages of the medieval era. They had the Knights of Starland, including the various ancient armies of the world, to fight the Asoramid soldiers, but all were killed by the constant manufacturing of Asoyas. It was hopeless. When everything looked bleak, something appeared. A savior. It was the day of darkness. The destruction of their world was inevitably about to happen. But then, a bright light appeared from the sky, purging the darkness in the area. As its light shone across the world, all the Asoyas who came in contact with the light were destroyed within an instant, turning them to ash. As for the Dark Virus, not even it was capable of defending the miraculous light. The light then sealed the Dark Virus away inside its meteor, its mode of coming here, becoming its prison. The light then used its power to create a force field around the meteor, becoming the Dark Virus's tomb, and would never release him into the world, even when time ended. As for the Emerald Light, it had the same abilities as it did. However, they were completely opposite. It spread its light across the land, rebirthing the world. The only thing it couldn't save was the Darklands. Not even the beam to defeat the Dark Virus could undo its literal impact here. So, it instead made it an inaccessible prison for the Dark Virus. It buried its meteor into the ground and prevented anyone from ever entering the Darklands ever again. It created a large cave over it. It had placed it where the lake once was, which had all drained up. The Darklands then soon became Forbidden Lands. Scorchocks worshipped the light who had saved them, giving them a second chance for a better life. The light was humble, however, merely taking it all in stride. The Emerald Light believed that one day, however, that the evil force could emerge once again. So, it lent its powers that defeated the virus to the entire species of Scorchocks. From the light used to vanquish the Dark Virus, it transformed the light into an emerald key with a silver metal lining around it, and an emerald in the middle of it. The key had the power to create anything. It could bring out one's imagination and create it into a reality. It even had the ability to give life to non-conscious beings, similar to the Dark Virus's power, but there was nothing monstrous about it, unless that was what was wanted to be created. It was named the Key of Creation. The lights then left them, believing that the Scorchocks would now be safe forever. Because of its kindness, the Scorchocks decided to nickname the key in its honor of the Emerald Light, the Emerald Key, as it shared the same color as the light did. However, with such great power, greed for power would always want this power. It was hidden away by the original ancestors, as they believed that if this power was to get in the wrong hands, anyone could use it for their own personal desires and create the same monstrous beings as the Dark Virus did. They never did create life with it, worrying if it was ever to become unstable or uncontrollable. There were, however, times where the Emerald Key was tried to be stolen for people's own personal quest for power. However, each time they were foiled and arrested. The likelihood of the key being stolen was impossible. Because of their power to create, they advanced the land and world into a technological world. It wasn't long before that they, by themselves, created the first artificial life, robots. Soon, their robots worked various jobs that the Scorchocks did, becoming one with their population. They didn't replace all jobs, though, and no better place to go but one of the most famous cities in Starland, Starlight City, the sister capital to the country due to its popularity and one of the birthplaces of the world's industrial revolution. But as time grew on, the Scorchocks did become slightly greedy and started abusing their power. Even though that they were told to respect all life, artificial or not, they treated the robots as if they were solely existed to serve them. Villains still tried to steal the Emerald's key, but the technology that they had developed could easily disarm and defeat them. It was soon looking as if the Emerald's key would never be used or found by anyone ever again. All but one individual. No one knew who this person was, but the ones who did see him will tell you. It was a person who wore a black cloak covering their entire appearance and wore a distinctive mask. And in its arsenal, it used multiple robotic arms sprouting from its back and had an extremely unique type of venom. Venom that turned whoever was stung would turn to stone. Unlike the failed thieves who tried to steal the power, it found the key without any problem in its hidden location, and the stories from those who knew would tell you that they were the only ones able to survive and escape the terror that the cloaked figure did to the unlucky ones. Starland was in chaos as they worried that someone was going to use its power, but no one noticed that in the Darklands, the hooded figure had used the Emerald Key to release the Dark Virus. Now, even though no one or robot knew what would make this person release the virus, who wanted all their life on the world gone? And even presumably, the entire world. But here is the story of what they theorized for the next part of this story, the origin story of what happened. The theory was that the cloaked figure released the virus Emerald Key, surprisingly owing a debt to the person who had released him. But why didn't he destroy the person, a living creature? Maybe it was because it revealed a new way of destroying the world with a new army. It introduced it to the world of robots, which gave the Dark Virus a more creative way of destroying their world. One day, it was the day of darkness all over again. The sky had turned purple, and soon the entire world's sunlight vanished. As for the Darklands, their walls were destroyed, and out emerged a flying castle fortress that the Dark Virus had created, filled with their armies. As they first made their attack, they released their soldiers.
Unlikely though, when its soldiers were revealed, they weren't the original Asoyas. They were smaller and each different. They were armies of robots that the Dark Virus had created, a plethora of generals to lead them and do his bidding.
Wait. Stop the tape. Bose, stand by.
Jekyll, what in Space's name are you doing?
Wait, where's my sigil? You got yours, where's mine?
That's because your creator of the creator of this podcast, not our true creator of course, hasn't created yours yet, so be quiet before someone shuts your trap permanently. Be happy they got your name right, the title wasn't for me.
But wait, your name is Coldred Cole. How does that make any sense?
Too long-winded for me.
At least you got your signature up there.
We really should get you programmed with better spelling and writing programs, but I'm serious. Shut up before I do. I hate to think what will happen if you open your mouth again.
I fall apart all the time. Make no odds, good or bad.
Can we just get on with the damn story already? You need to stick to this. You're new here.
I got this. This'll shut him up.
Wait, what do you do?
Oh, don't you complain. You had it coming.
Thank the Dark Lord that his gob has shut.
Wasting my time. The people watching this better be putting up with the podcast. I'm not the only one suffering here. If they aren't, I'll kill them. The generals were each linked with the Dark Virus, powered by the Dark Crystals inside them. They were made from an infusion of both Dark Crystals, minerals, and Star Iron, known as Dark Star Iron, to form what type of soldier to be known as Dark Robots. Unlike the Asoyans, they had no ability to create, but their power of destruction in different variations was beyond powerful. How this was possible was merely from, or was theorized, that they were also half created by the Emerald Key's power, giving them life. Soon, the Dark Virus had captured half of the planet and had destroyed everything in its way. However, this time, Scorchox resisted. With their technology, they fought back against the Dark Virus and the Dark Robot armies. They had created powerful weapons and combat robots to fight the Dark Robots. They had even created robotic versions of themselves, who resembled knights of old with swords and shields, to combat against the Dark Robots, known as the Rocktrox Knights. The armies also included Scorchoxes with their own powers of creation. This army was known as the Piercing Resistance, but it wasn't enough. After 1 year, the fight was still on. It took longer for the Dark Virus to consume the world, but it was stronger and had already taken back half of the world, turning it back to how it originally made it when it first came to this planet. There was one thing, however, I forgot to mention. Various robots had developed their own personalities and quirks other than the ones programmed into them. This could have been due to the fact that they were created by the Scorchox, who shared the powers of the Emerald Key. Even the Dark Robots had their own personalities compared to the Asoyas. This was the case with 15 Rocktrox Knights. They noticed that no one had tried to attack the Dark Virus head-on. If they stole the Emerald Key back from the Dark Virus, they could use it to seal the Dark Virus back inside its tomb, the Meteor. By doing this, it would mean that Scorchox could fight back, but also stop the armies that were created by the Key, but to possibly summon the light to save it. Disobeying their original orders to fight the Dark Robot army heading to destroy and take over Starlight City, they then headed to the Darklands to steal back the Emerald Key, but were engaged in a battle with great sacrifices. The Knights failed.
they were deactivated in battle, as they were against the Dark Robot generals and the soldiers, and even an unlikely ally. They were soon to be turned to scrap metal, but were interrupted by a familiar force. The Emerald Light had returned to save the day. However, this time the Dark Virus was prepared and engaged it in the light with a battle, preventing it from fixing the land. The light knew it couldn't do everything by itself, so it shared its power with the fallen knights. It used its powers of creation along with the Emerald Key and shared more of its power to the powerless. It sent out 14 more lights, which each formed into keys like the Emerald Key. The Emerald Key and its fellow keys locked into the defeated knights, revitalizing each of them with the powers of each individual key. The knights were able to combat the Dark Virus and the soldiers with their new powers, and were even able to defeat the cloaked figure. As for the Dark Virus, it was no match against the Emerald Light, including 15 individuals who also shared its power. They combined their power, creating an all-powerful blast, vanquishing the Dark Virus. As for the Dark Robots, they were all turned to stone in the forms of statues from the blast, and were inadvertently sent flying across the country and the world, never to be seen again. As for the Dark Virus, yet again, he was locked away, but this time, pieces of him were separated from his body, locked away in canisters which could only be opened by any of the keys. And not only that, this time, the Dark Virus was locked inside by each of the 15 keys, creating a force field. And not only that, this time the Dark Virus was locked inside an impenetrable force field, locked by each of the 15 keys. Only if each of the keys were united could release the Dark Virus, which would never happen again. As for the Skulltrox, however, they wished to know the key locations to safeguard them, but the light never allowed it. These Skulltrox were the ones the light once knew, and even though not all were like the ones who betrayed their kind, that tried to steal the key and not abuse the life that they had created, it could not trust them, so it gave them to the robots who helped him, dubbing them the Cosmic Knights, after the power sources and keys to their new power, the Cosmic Keys, and to limit their power in case a key was gained, they could be charged by special power sources the Emerald Light created, the Cosmic Generators. And as for being gifted the power of the creation key to create again, it didn't wish to do so. They had lost the way to create. So, until that happened, it wouldn't return the power of creation from the Emerald Key to the Skulltrox. And to each knight was to be hidden away in secret, away from anyone ever finding the keys again. The light did so, putting 14 of the robots into stasis, to be woken when the time came, or if someone used their keys. It could have simply taken the keys and generators from them, but it knew that the Dark Virus would somehow return, as some was missing of its body. All but one Cosmic Knight remained with the Skulltrox, the Creation Knight, who was assigned to rebuilding of their world. And as the leader of the Cosmic Knights, it still felt that good still help the Skulltrox and help them find their old ways again. And so, the Cosmic Knights and the Emerald Light used their powers to revitalize the land. And once it was done, the remaining 14 knights were sent away into hiding, never to be heard of again. But in secret, the Creation Knight was also told to find someone who could carry on the light's work, as it was too weak to fight a third time. The Dark Virus had come back stronger, and will yet again if it was ever to come back. No one knew what the light told the Creation Knight after that. Once the world was rebuilt, once again, the Creation Knight vanished from the world, never to be seen again. It was soon later nicknamed the Emerald Light due to its similarities in character and colour as the light, and its willingness to give the Skulltrox a second chance after how it was treated even before. All that was known was that the virus would return one day. And that day was today.
Finally, it's over.
I'm free!
Oh, forgot about you.
I still don't know why that Skulltrox released him. Technically, you two wouldn't have existed, so I wouldn't either 100 years later.
Who knows? Maybe a robotic rights activist or terrorist. Either way works for me.
Come on, the next attack at Starlight City is in 5.
Let's go. Only took over this show because I wasn't mentioned. I should be the main character of this story.
Wait, shouldn't we say something to the audience or something? Oh well. Cole, your ice melted everywhere on the floor. This is why I say bring Soul wherever we go. Now where's my left claw?
Jackla! The portal is closing. Hurry up before we leave you.
Can't we?
Coming!